let's get this work. So, as I was trying to say, I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing this series. I'm tired of it, but we don't do what we want to do in the Most High's kingdom. We do what He asks us to do. So we're going to continue with uprooting Christianity, and we're destroying or we're unraveling the New Testament. And just for a quick review of why this is necessary, why this study is so necessary, and we was talking about it last night. We were just bouncing around on all types of topics, and we sort of spilled over into Shabbat service. But this series, Uprooting Christianity, is so necessary because y'all see what we just came out of, that Christmas season. And our family and friends who we love, who are about to be destroyed physically, they believe that they're living a New Testament life based on those letters of the apostles. So we got to keep, the Most High got us stuck on this series trying to help them. You know, we can't be like that old Christian saying used to be, you know, God bless me and my four and no more. We can't be content that we see it and we leave our brothers and sisters behind because we're so holy now and they just don't want to get it. No, we got to do the work and we got to keep pouring into them. And when it gets too frustrated, then just, hey, plant that seed like Gerald did, and you continue to pray and fast for the family. But this series, Uprooting Christianity, is necessary because they believe they're living a holy life, and it's all based on those letters of the New Testament. So that's why we got to keep going through all this history and research. So one of the premises we're trying to destroy is that Christian dogma. And one of the principles of Christian dogma or Christian philosophy is they believe those letters of the New Testament has taught them a new way of life. And we're living a new way of life in Jesus Christ. And this new way of life, they believe, is found inside the New Testament. And we're going through all this research to show them, when you get a true understanding, there's no new life inside the New Testament. Those elders, those apostles was not starting a new way. They were upholding and reminding the people, come back to the covenant, but now still have faith and accept that Messiah, accept the Son as the Son of the Most High, but still come back to your covenant. They were trying to get them to leave the Pharisaic law. Leave those Pharisees alone and come back to what Moses gave us. But now you got to have faith in the Son. So this new way of life that the Christians think they found is Christian dogma that the Jesuits made up. That's when you go to seminary and you sit under their indoctrination, and they believe you found a new way of life. They teach you that Christ brought a new way of life. Christ didn't bring a new way of life. Another Christian dogma we're trying to destroy, these Christians have redefined righteousness. And they redefine righteousness totally different than Abba Yah. They're telling people that righteousness now comes only by faith. And it's like, we're going to see that that's a lie. Righteousness don't come by faith. Righteousness, the path to righteousness is through Hamashiach. But what was Hamashiach teaching, family? If you love me, keep my commandments. So we're going to point out that this Christian dogma, redefining this is what I believe righteousness is, this is what I think righteousness is. No, we define righteousness by the Most High's definition, and Christ, Messiah, he confirmed what righteousness was. He confirmed it, family. Another Christian dogma that we're trying to uproot and destroy is this Christian dogma, and we're just highlighting just the black and white surfaces. There's so much of it, but the reason why this study is so necessary, what your family and friends have just practiced that this last week, this Christmas and all this mess, it's leading them to hell. So they don't know, they think you're on the path of righteousness, And we're showing you everything you're practicing, this Christian dogma that you have accepted from your pastor is leading you to hell. So this is why we got to go through all this research, family. This is why we're doing all this research. So for those of you just joining us and you haven't had a chance to check the other classes out, you can go to the YouTube channel and just start looking for, you can type in the Torah Group. We're not that popular, but eventually you will find the Torah Group channel on YouTube. And we have the series Uprooting Christianity, and the different segments have different titles. But just go to the YouTube channel, the Torah Group, and start looking for the series Uprooting Christianity. Chef, you had something?
I wanted to say, in our Western mindset, faith is an abstract thing. However, as we start to learn our heritage and our original tongue, we see that our language is concrete. So with that faith meaning, you gotta be doing something. It ain't just a fleeting thought, something, just think about it, and it'll come to pass. It's not how we work in our original mindset, but again, we're so westernized.
Just believe in it. That's all I need. ABCs of Christianity. Great point, Oz. Everything about us is concrete, family. There's no.
I'm sorry, Nariah raised his hand.
Nariah, you had something about?
Con, just to line me back off what Nehemiah just said, and y'all ain't doing anything. The Most High is not doing anything but just continuing to confirm what was discussed last night in regards to what I potentially might be bringing out, continuing to just fast and pray and seek the Most High and what He wants. But when it comes to faith, Father Abraham and a lot of the other patriarchs, and of course King Yahushua are ultimate example, because you look at when Yah told Abraham, "Hey, you love your son, right?" Father Abraham was like, "Yeah, Father, thank you for giving me Yatzizah. Thank you for giving me Isaac." He was like, "Okay, well, cool. You got faith that I'll deliver you from anything, right?" "Yeah." "Okay, prove it to me. Give me your son. Prove it to me. Show me your faith." That's what James was talking about. So that's exactly what Nehemiah is saying. People think, "Oh, I got faith that God is going to take care of me, but I'm going to get glazed up anyway." That's not faith. It is faith. It's faith in the serpent and not the Most High. So just landing backing off that, faith is always backed up by something practical. You're doing something, putting some type of work in, doing the best that you can, being obedient, and having faith that the Most High is going to have your back and fight for you or provide for you or just take care of you in whatever circumstance you in. So yeah, I definitely want to say that.
All praises, and thanks for that witness. Our way of life is concrete. You have to have action. You have to have action. So a quick review of some of the truth that the Most High has revealed under this study. We were able to see, according to our apostles themselves and according to the Messiah himself, there is no Trinity in our culture. Messiah never told us that he was the Father. He never told us to pray to him. He never said he was equal to his Father. He always made sure that he let the people know, I'm doing the will of my Father. I'm sent to do my Father's will. If someone's sent, if someone's being a messenger, in the hood, it's a slight. You my messenger boy. Back in the 90s, we would call it sonning him. Go to the store and buy me some cigarettes. So if you're an errand boy, that's a hierarchy. An errand boy is working for someone. So Messiah always lets you know, I'm a messenger. I'm an errand boy for my Father. So the Messiah never told you he was God, the Most High. He never told you he was equal with his Father. And then when we take a look at Apostle Paul's writing, Apostle Paul said the same thing. He says, we worship God and we believe in the Son, our Messiah. So it's always a difference. There's no Trinity in our culture. We were able also to bring out the original New Testament letters, family, have never been found. You're basing your salvation on copies of copies of copies that's been copied into a foreign tongue. And we got the intro to Sirach that our language translated into other languages have not the same effect. You lose the force of the Hebrew when you start translating our scrolls into Greek, Latin, German, and English. So you think you found a new way of life inside the New Testament letters, and you don't even have the originals. That's cause for pause. Then we brought out, and we'll continue to bring out, there's numerous contradictions to prophecies inside the New Testament letters. The most drastic one is when they got Uncle Shawwal, Uncle Paul saying that whether there be prophecies, prophecies shall fail. That don't make a bit of sense, family. How prophecy is going to fail and you're supposed to be prophesying or speaking for Yah? If your prophecy fail, we're supposed to take you outside the city walls and stone you because you're a false prophet. So we find contradictions like that all throughout the New Testament. You go to the book of Hebrews, I think chapter 3 or chapter 6, and it says that Christ as the son over his own house. Who house are we? It's like, wait a minute, that don't fit Israelite culture. A son is never over his own house. As long as your father's alive, you don't own anything. As long as your father's alive in our culture, everything belongs to your father. You're not getting your inheritance until your father passed away. So we keep finding these contradictions inside these letters, but these are the letters that our family are basing their lives on. But we just seen they're not even basing their lives on the letters because you can't find Christmas in these letters. So y'all just doing what y'all want to do.
SELAH.
Go ahead, Ak.
That inheritance that you just brought out, you don't get into till your father pass away. Again, that brings to why I love 1 Corinthians 15, 24 through 28. The Most High don't pass away. The Son got to get that kingdom back.
That right there, what I just brought out, would have them stuck for years.
Makes too much sense.
That would have them stuck for years. That's 1 Corinthians 15, Abishai shared, that's like a black and white. He's telling you that the Father gave everything to the Son. And it's evident that everything has been put under the Son's feet. But when it's all said and done, the Son is going to take everything and give it back to the Father and be subject to the Father like his brethren. Christianity missed that. We would have these Dr. Seminaries stuttering, but you see, no, read this. That right there would have them stuck for years. So we also was able to see this Christian dogma is called, a little fancy word, supersessionism. It's called replacement theology. They teach and believe that some Gentile church has replaced the Israelites because the Israelites rejected Messiah. Well, did all the Israelites reject Messiah? No, there were Israelites out there crying for him. So your dogma that we've been replaced by a Gentile church is false doctrine. It's not in the scrolls. There were many who believed on him. And then we got even Pharisees who were believing on him because they had Pharisees coming to him in the night saying, listen, we know you are sent from the Father. And these wicked Pharisees are going to try to kill you. You should flee to such and such. And Christ thanked them, but says, no, I was born for this hour. I was sent for this hour. I'm built for this. But we had Pharisees warning him, Pharisees who had came to believe on him. So how you say that, yeah, the Israelites rejected Christ, and that's why the Gentile church replaced y'all? Book, chapter, and verse. This is the Christian dogma that we're uprooting right now. Hallelujah. And then we're uprooting this Christian dogma that grace is not for grace. Grace has replaced the Torah. And I think somebody said it last night, grace is the Torah. Because if not for the instructions, When you disobey, you would drop. We brought out that brother picking up sticks on the Sabbath. What happened to him?
Got him out of there.
Got him out of there. What happened, baby? The brother doing a good thing. David's about to bring the ark into Jerusalem. And the Most High told David, don't let anyone touch the ark. The brother, I forgot his name, he saw the ark wobbling. He tried to grab it to hold it.
Gone.
Go.
That shows you
Sleeping in the sepulchre. Come on,
in the presence of the Most High in His purity, we can't stand.
Can't stand. So the Most High was trying to tell him, I ain't gonna let my ark fall. So you think you're doing a good thing, about to touch this ark, and he gone.
See, I pray the Most High, don't let me fall into a snare like that. Like that man, I can't even blame it. Like, don't let
it looks like what he's doing is no.
Yeah, don't let me
Well,
fall into those types of traps, man. Like,
That's hard.
I'm gonna let that thing hit the ground or whatever the Most High's will. Like, whatever your
But you know,
will.
Chef, you be like, nigga,
With your heart,
Right.
you
You sliding.
I just pray, please, I don't know these. Help me. Please help me. I need help.
This man thought he was doing something righteous, but the Most High word says, don't touch my ark. So
That was Uzzah.
Uzzah.
Yeah, Uzzah. Yep.
Thank you for that. Uzzah.
Yeah, the Levites were the only ones that could touch it. And so he must have not been from the tribe of Levi, right?
Uzzah disobeyed the Most High's word and he got killed. So when you tell me grace replaced the Torah, it tells me you don't understand our culture. You don't know Torah is grace. Torah is the way to stay in line with Yah. Okay, you having a problem with your flesh? Repent, go bathe and wash your flesh and be clean and sin no more. Bring me a sacrifice and don't sin no more. This is the Torah, this is grace. I don't have to kill you. I'm gonna take these animals for now. And now, because y'all so wicked, I'm gonna send my son. But the son came under the Torah. What's that saying? Fight fire with fire. We'll just have a bigger fire, dummy. Like how you fight fire. So Messiah practiced the Torah by dying for us, replacing the Torah. That don't make no sense. This is the Christian dogma we're fighting against. Chef.
Ananias and what's his wife?
So fire.
Lying. They thought they was lying simply to the man, but
it's the spirit in that man that you answering to.
And then they were just told, bring what you wanted. I guess they were trying to make it look like
we're better than everybody else.
Right.
Peter says, did we tell you how much to bring? We didn't tell you how much to bring. So again, this dogma that grace, we're under grace now. We don't have to follow law, AKA Torah. It's the Christian dogma that we are trying to uproot and destroy. And then last time we was together, this mess, Gerald was messed up. I think Gerald was getting ready to go back to Christianity. We brought out that Christ didn't preach for 3 years. Christ didn't preach for 3 years. When you follow the math, he was at most, after his baptism, he only preached for a year at most. But Christian dogma got you following, he preached for 3.5 years, and you can't prove it in the scrolls. This is why we got to go through all this, family. This is why we got to go through all this.
Salakia Mora.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna add, even after Uzzah touched the ark and he died, David got scared, and then he allowed the ark to go up to Obed-Edom's house. And after like 3 months, I believe it was, he saw that Obed-Edom's house was getting blessed. And I kind of just in my mind just now, I felt like the Ruach was connecting, like the commands got to stay close because we know the commands were in there. So he went and got the ark because he saw that Obed-Edom's house was getting blessed. So he brought those commands back to where he were, and he got blessed as a result. Dawid did. So I just adding that.
Thank you for that. But can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
I've been up with y'all too, family. I'm tired too. Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
Y'all ain't too holy for me, y'all. Y'all, some of y'all grew up in the hip hop era, right? Somebody had a song called What's Beef? Y'all remember who that was?
Biggie.
Biggie.
How y'all let this young man beat y'all?
I was thinking.
Biggie Smalls, for my older generation, I'm just entertain me for a second.
My generation.
Biggie Smalls had a song called What's Beef? And in this song, he's explaining what true animosity is. And he has one of his lyrics, he says, beef is when you tell your enemy, go start my car. Why would you tell your enemy to start your car?
Because it's a bomb.
Setup. It's a setup.
So he says beef is when you tell your enemy, go start my car. Meaning,
Start your Jeep.
go start my Jeep. Because if someone has booby trapped my car, you're my enemy, go check it out. Go test it out. Now with that mindset, let's go back to David telling Obed-Edom, take the ark with you. What did David do?
He was the death. So
He wanted somebody to die. He said, so in his mind.
what is it? What do they call it?
Hey,
Grenade.
That's a Molotov.
Con.
David said, this Israelite just dropped. Your name is Obed or Abad Edom.
That means servant of Esau.
He's an Edomite servant. His name is not Obed Edom. His name is like mine, Abad Edom. He's an Edomite who David conquered. David conquered the Edomites and made them servants. So when David saw that Yah killed the Israelite for touching the ark, David got scared and says, hey, you Edomite, take that home with you. And let's see what happens.
The water.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
I
good.
was just about to say something about that, but yeah, you went and did it.
they give you that much more respect for Big.
Y'all see who we are as a people? King David was like, I'm scared now, but you're a servant of Edom. You're really my enemy. You take the ark and let's see what Yah do to you. And David didn't go get the ark until, like you said, once David saw that Yah was prospering this Edomite, then King Dawah said, let's go get the ark now. That's who we are as a people. We're not foolish and we sacrifice the Gentiles. That's who we are. And this Gentile was being righteous because he had succumbed to David. Okay, you killed my nation. I'm going to serve you, David. So he knew his place and he seen what happened. This Edomite was walking with us. He seen that Israelite drop, but he knows David's my king. I got to obey him.
Want me to do it.
If I don't do it, David's going to kill me. So you imagine this Edomite is singing in his boots like, okay, come on.
I know.
Yeah, he's like, come on, King.
Yeah, fear and trembling.
Look, like the old lady on the ice storm, was a sheet of ice. She had some table salt. Like,
Please pray for me, David. David, please pray for me, David.
They are.
That's who we are as a people. That's why you got to come back to your heritage. You got to reclaim being an Israelite, family. You have to. You have to. So thank you for that. So family, this next couple of weeks, we're going to be going over some history, and it could be boring to you, but it's very necessary to understand what our family is involved in. And it's very important that you understand how deep this stuff goes. So we're going to read some history these next couple of weeks, and just do your best to try to stay with us. But we're about to show you that Christianity has caused more harm than good. And for a Christian to hear that, just that spirit of rebellion in them had them putting the wall up. What are you talking about? Christ came to save the world. Yeah, he came to save the world of Israel. The Christianity you're following has caused more harm than good. They think they're following our king, and we're going to show them, or continue to show them, you're not following our king. You're not doing anything our king said to do. You're not emulating anything our king did. You're not keeping the feast days he kept. You're not wearing the dress code he kept. You're not healing the sick. When the last time y'all was in church and seen someone get healed?
Hey.
Y'all talking about come down to the church if you guys glazed up and still wear a mask and still six feet apart.
Matter of fact, they getting glazed at the church.
Come to the church to get your glaze on. The hot light now is on. And y'all got power in your church. This is what we got going on, family. So we're going to read some history about our nation. And this is right off of Google, family. This is not a deep research. But let's read about, because y'all know how they make fun. I remember in high school, they started telling us the Arabs became terrorists, and the Arabs became the face of everything evil. And it was like, the Arabs believed that if they die in the holy jihad, they're going to get 12 virgins in the afterlife. And to me, I was like, I'm laughing too. Like, that's crazy. Like, who would gas you up to go blow yourself up because you're going to get 12 virgins in the afterlife? So the Christians want to paint the Arabs to be some crazy people thinking they're going to get 12 virgins in the afterlife. Let's read about the real Christians, family. Let's read about the Council of Claremont. The Council of Claremont. Watch this, family.
The First Crusade was called in November of 1095 by Pope Urban II at the town of Claremont in central France. The Pope made a proposal. Whoever for devotion alone, but not to gain honor or money, goes to Jerusalem to liberate the Church of God.
Go to where?
To Jerusalem to liberate the Church of God.
So the Romans had lost control of the Holy Land. Our land is the most coveted land of the world. They know that the power of Yah is there when we're there. So this part of history, 1095, the Muslims have taken over Jerusalem and the Romans want it back. Don't be confused because it's saying the Pope Urban of France. France, Europe, all those nations are controlled by Rome. Rome wants to get Jerusalem back, and this Pope Urban is about to give them a decree. Read on.
He can substitute this journey for all penance. This appeal was the combination of a number of contemporary trends along with the inspiration of Urban himself.
So what the Pope just told them, family, the Pope says, whoever for devotion alone, for country, not for your gain, not for your paycheck, not to be promoted, go get Jerusalem back for devotion to your country. And if you go there for that, all your sins are forgiven. Anything you do over there, raping, burning, murdering babies, I'm the Pope. I forgive you already. These are the first Christians coming to take the land from the Muslims. So when you make fun of Muslims, you gave them that doctrine. Rome, you gave them Islam. Don't act like these Muslims are crazy, thinking they're going to get 12 virgins. You started this doctrine. Let's finish this on. Let's finish this up.
Of contemporary trends along with the inspiration of Urban himself, who added particular innovations to the mix. For several decades, Christians had begun pushing back at Muslim lands on the edge of Europe, in the Iberian Peninsula, for example, as well as in Sicily.
Spain and Rome.
In some instances, the church had become involved in these events through the offer of limited spiritual rewards for participants.
Through the offer of limited spiritual rewards for participants. So don't act like these Muslims are so crazy thinking they're getting 10 virgins, 12 virgins when they die and blow themselves up. Rome, you started the doctrine. Quiet as a cat, I got a class I ain't brought out yet, I ain't finished out, but y'all can do the research. Islam was invented by the Romans. Muhammad died in 632. The first Quran wasn't written until 790 something. How you got a Quran after Muhammad died? How, Sway? Rome gave you the Quran. So this idea that these Muslims are crazy and they're violent and they believe blowing themselves up, they're going to get 12 virgins, it didn't come from the Muslims. It came from you Christians, you real Christians. This is who you following when you're inside the Roman Catholic Church. And you've been a Protestant, you're not better. So this is a book free of charge. You can Google, get this off Google Books. and it has a lot of information, a lot of missing history to explain what's going on. This is a history of Palestine during the years of 634 to 1099. The period of 634 of the Roman Empire, AD, to 1099. The author is Moshe Gil. He's an Arab. He's a Shemite. Y'all notice the year 634 to 1099? They didn't get rid of us in 70 AD. You can't get rid of all of Israel. So you can get rid of our power and our temples, but we've been in the land ever since, and we got Israelites in the land right now. Right now. This is the history they won't tell you inside the church or school. So let's read some of this up. This is pages 4 through 6, A History of Palestine, and this is just the intro. Listen to this, family.
In 610, Heraclius was crowned emperor.
A Roman,
The chronicles speak highly of him and admit to his being able and well-intentioned. Many world-shaking events took place during his reign.
Many world-shaking events took place during his reign. Keep in mind the year is 610 AD. His name is Heraclius. He's a Roman emperor, and many world-shaking events took place in his reign. We're going to show you how Christianity developed. Read on.
The Persian victories, which also led to their temporary conquest of Palestine, changes within the empire, and the Muslim conquest, which deprived Byzantium of much of its Mediterranean land.
So Palestine is changing hands during this period. The Persians had it, and now the Muslims have it, and now the Romans want it back. That's what's happening. It's 610 AD. Heraclius is now the new emperor of Rome, and he wants Jerusalem back from the Muslims. The Persians has lost Palestine, and this Roman general, this Roman emperor, he wants Jerusalem back. Read on.
The Persian offensive had already begun in 611, and in the course of 7 or 8 years, the Persians conquered Antioch, the major city of the Byzantine East.
Byzantine is just a new word for New Rome. When you see Byzantine, just think of New Rome or the Eastern Empire. Rome was divided into 2 empires. You had the western side and the eastern side. The eastern side became known as Byzantine. It's just Rome. Read on.
Damascus and all of Syria, Palestine, Asia Minor, and also Egypt. The Persian campaign brought to light the existence of connections, at least emotional and possibly one-sided, between the Jews and the Persians.
Between who?
The Jews and the Persians.
It's 610 and we got Jews, Israelites in Palestine. We've always been in the land. We've always been in the land. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but I got to bring this out. The Khazars, the fake Jews, didn't even convert until 925 sometime. So before the year, I say 1000, when you said Jew, they're thinking of people like you and I. They have no idea about non-melanated Jews. So read on.
Mutual interest had already been evident about 100 years earlier. During the war in Himyar, the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula, Jews and Persians then share interests, although no evidence has been preserved of actual contact or collaboration, unlike the affliction between Byzantium and the Ethiopians and the local Christians.
So our ancestors, the Israelites who survived after the Roman destruction in 70 AD, they survived after Hadrian kicked us out in 127 AD. We've always had Israelites go in hiding and stay in the land. And when things get better, these Israelites come back to Jerusalem and let the people know these are our lands. And you know these are our lands. We're already up to the Roman year of 610 AD. And Israelites are in the land. And now these Romans want the land back. Let's read on.
The Jews evidently enjoyed an important status in the Persian kingdom. owing to their large numbers, and also to the role occupied by Jewish merchants in Persia's international trade.
Jews played a large role in the Persian kingdom. We were always outnumbering the natives of the lands we were at. We will always reproduce faster than the land who conquered us. Sound familiar?
Mhm.
We're
Egypt.
Egypt, we're deeper than Egypt. America, we're deeper. Why do you think they're trying to glaze us up?
Mhm.
So we're being subjected to the Persians, but we're still outnumbering them, and we're still the successful businessmen in Persia. Read on.
That's why they got all those abortion clinics.
We don't die,
Makes
we
sense now, huh?
multiply.
Huh?
I said, we don't die, we multiply.
We baby kids.
The more they try to take us out, the more we have.
You think they're trying to help you with that hot glaze? They're trying to help you to a coffin.
Get them out of here.
Mhm.
Jewish soldiers served in the Persian army.
You think we served in the Roman army too? If we served in the Persian army?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Cornelius,
Yeah.
maybe Cornelius is not really a Roman?
Mm-hmm. Just like your son serving in the American.
Come on, my son's an Israelite. He knows he's an Israelite. He's trying to survive this captivity. Now he's an American soldier.
And if we are, my father too, and if we are to credit the account of Michael the Syrian, they even caused Persian commanders to put a halt to fighting on Jewish holy days.
What'd you say, Aunt?
They even caused Persian commanders to put a halt to fighting on Jewish holy days.
This is what we're trying to tell the NBA, the NFL, the army. You have the numbers. If you unite, American army would crumble because we outnumber the rest and we fight better than the rest. So if you stand united, NBA players, NFL players, and say, no, Uncle Sam, no, Massa, we're not getting glazed up, they're going to crumble because they're losing dollars by the day. So our ancestors are telling the Persians, listen, y'all know who's doing the heavy work around here. We got y'all peace, we got y'all the land now. We ain't fighting no more on the feast days. Capiche? You got that. Because they know what side their bread is buttered on. That's the power we got right now, family. At my job, our building holds like 500, I think it's the cap. And when you walk through the building, it's mostly us. Go ahead, Abishai.
Salaki, yes. To what you're bringing out as far as the numbers concerned, when I go to Deuteronomy 28 and I go to 54, and when you look at 54, that particular one is solely us against us. If the Most High would remove 54 alone, our nation would come together. Our nation would come together and rise up.
You got it over now?
Say it again.
You got that verse up now?
Yeah, I have it.
Go ahead, read it. Bring it out.
It says, Deuteronomy 28:54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. That's us against us. And towards his wife. That's us against our women. Of his bosom, and toward his remnant of his children, which he shall leave. That's our offspring. So that's us against us. We know what black on black crime look like. We know what it's like for us to go against us. We know that. But that scripture is us against us. If we could unite, the Most High would remove just that one curse out of all the rest of them. Just remove that one, and we'll rise above everybody just off that one curse removal. If we could just get along, because our numbers is too stupid.
Crazy numbers. And to support what he just brought out, these Persian Israelite soldiers, they're conquering land for Persia. That means when they come back to Jerusalem, they're fighting against their own brothers for Persia. Cornelius, being a Roman centurion, he's keeping Israelites in line for Rome. My son and the rest of our brothers fighting for America, when they go to the Middle East, they're fighting against their own people for the Roman, AKA US government. Not knowing who we are, family, not following the law got us just lost as a people. Paragraph number 6.
There seems to be considerable exaggeration, however, in the accounts of those who describe the Persian conquest of Palestine as if it were an era of squaring accounts for the Jews, a sort of messianic era. The Chronicon Pascal describes the death and destruction inflicted by the Persians in Jerusalem, without mentioning the Jews in this connection at all.
What did you just say, Op?
They basically describing the affliction, that how they destroyed the city, but they just don't mention the people.
That Israelites were helping. They're saying they're recording all the death that the Persians.
Oh yeah.
But who's leading the Persian army?
Yeah, the Jews are leading the army.
So we're going back home, killing our own people for the Persians.
It's saying that the Persians as a nation taking the credit, but the Israelites basically defeated themselves.
You got something, Queen?
I was just gonna say it's just history repeating itself
over and over again. Breaking the laws got us fighting, killing each other over here in Babylon. Not knowing that's my Hebrew brother, that's my Israelite brother. That's my Israelite sister.
They trick us to do those things. We're known to be stronger. They know that we're stronger than them, and so we just so lost.
Keeping us lost.
We're so lost.
But you see, when we follow those commands, and those people come against us, we got record after record where Most High sent confusion and they killed each other.
Undefeated. We ain't even gotta fight. We don't even have to fight. Shemaria, you should have been here last. We brought out the verse. I was reading Psalms and it says King David was like, "Blessed be the Most High who causes me to pass over walls." And it's like, no, if you read that in context, he's saying the Most High is causing me to go through these walls. Superman.
I was telling Antoine and Naraya, we was talking about it at the baptism last week, how our people, that you keep the commandments and you can be a superhero, or you don't keep the commandments and you go to hell. It's like our people say, oh, we looking at both of these options, we gonna choose to go to hell.
That's because they are so lost.
And they chose this when they knew. Now the Levite, they knew, and they still did it. And I was telling them that same thing. Like we like when you see the enemies, like I was telling them that some of these giants was as tall as the trees we was looking at outside. And I was like, but David, even he was worried because the Most High, he's not talking to you 24/7, trying to give you a picture. It's just like us right now. The Most High may give us a word and then he let us go on and keep living. So David is like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know I gotta fight tomorrow. We gotta, he's praying to the Most High and he's talking to Nathan, and he's like, man, Most High, please help me. Most High tells Nathan, tell David, it's gonna be all right. The enemy is gonna be given into your hands. So one, before you even fight, the Most High is telling you you're gonna win. So you already, now your confidence is
through the roof.
Like, I'm gonna try all kinds of finishing moves because I know it's gonna work. I'm macho manning off the top rope on him. So, but then he goes to sleep and he wakes up. This account is in Gad the seer. He wakes up and he said, all right, I'm gonna go out to the field. Now I'm about to, I'm about to take care of this business. He look in the field, all the enemies dead already.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's the power, that's the greatness and the power and the grace that the Most High puts on his people, that like you don't even have to fight. He sent an angel through there and just got him out of here. And I'm just like, oh, we gotta get back to that.
Get back to the law, man.
Yeah, we gotta get back to that, man.
Paragraph 7.
Antiochus Eustratios, his name dwindled to Strategios, a monk captured by the Persians in Jerusalem, describes the conquest of the city in greater detail. The patriarch Zacharias apparently intended to hand over Jerusalem peacefully, but as its inhabitants opposed a settlement, it was conquered after a siege of 20 days.
Didn't Nariah just talk about that? You see how everything is a rerun to the Most High? Zacharias says, okay, I'm gonna, let's make a deal. I turn the city over to you. But the inhabitants like, no, we ain't turning the city over to him. You see, ain't that the story of Judith? If the Most High don't come in 5 days, we'll go out and give him the city. And Judith's like, who are you to get the Most High ultimatum? It's the same thing in 610 AD. The Most High got to be bored with us. Like, which generation is going to get it right? And cry to me for everything. I'm your refuge. You don't need no stockpile. You don't need no biscuits. I'm giving you your daily bread. I got you.
You know what just came to mind? Me, Groundhog Day.
Over and over again. Who's that? Jim Belushi? Who was that? What movie? Who was the star in that?
The lead dude from Ghostbusters.
It's an old movie he's referred to, y'all. Groundhog's Day. What's the he died, didn't he?
No.
Who was it, Abishai?
Bill Murray.
That's Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, yeah, Con.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
You're talking about the same thing over and over. Like you say, he waking up, he go, man, look, I'm sick of y'all.
We don't gonna get it right. And we the nation about to get it right, and they're scared and they're shaking in their boots. They're shaking in their boots, having pastors having councils how to debate the Israelites. You can't, this is Yah. This is prophecy. Come on, let's go. I mean, here we go. Let's get through this.
And says Antiochus places the blame for the murder of many of the city's Christians on the Jews. According to him, Christians were murdered due to their refusal to accept Judaism.
So this is when you have to kick it. You got to keep it in context. And that label Christian is covering two groups now, because Rome once occupied Jerusalem. So Christian now is covering the pagan Romans, and it's covering who else?
The people who follow the Messiah.
You and I, the Nazarites. So the Jews, because now the Jews that helped Persia conquer the land, the wicked rabbis, the wicked Israelites are saying, y'all convert back to Judaism or we're killing y'all now. And it's including you and I, the Nazarites. That's when you got to know our history, family. Read on.
And the murder of many of the city's Christians on the Jews. According to him, Christians were murdered due to their refusal to accept Judaism. He also accuses the Jews of destroying the churches. Theophanes repeats Antiochus' remarks in his own chronicle, adding the story of a wealthy Jew called Benjamin of Tiberias, whom the Christians accused of having attacked them before the emperor Heraclius when he passed through Tiberias after the Byzantine victory. Benjamin admitted his guilt and justified his actions as grounded in Jewish hostility towards the Christians. He was saved from punishment by being immersed on the emperor's orders.
What saved his life?
He converted.
To what?
To Christianity.
So he did it just on surface. He probably, in his heart, he was what we call a crypto Jew. That's where Benaiah's information comes out. A Marano Jew is, yeah, I get baptized. I believe in y'all Christ. But underneath, when I go home, I'm practicing Hebrew faith. So y'all see where I'm going with this research? This is how you became a Christian, you Israelite. You became a Christian because the Romans are still a powerful nation. If you committed a trespass, get baptized into Christianity, or I'm taking your business, I'm gonna put your daughter into captivity, get baptized now and accept Christianity. But our family think this is the Christianity that's following Christ. No, The Christianity that follow Christ, we are Nazarites, and we keep the law, and we have faith in Christ. So this is the beginnings of a Christian. You want to stay alive, you want to keep your wealth, get baptized into Roman Catholicism, family.
Marat, this reminds me, is it in the book of Maccabees where the elder was on the cliff and they was trying to get him to eat pork in front of the brethren? And they was even to the point was like, hey man, I like you. So look, even if you eat some lamb or something that's clean to you, just pretend that it's pork, and then you'll be good. And he was willing to get thrown off the cliff and die rather than doing that. This is essentially the same thing, that defiled bread, that false doctrine. Okay, I'll get baptized and pretend I'm following y'all, but I'm still going to do the Hebrew thing behind closed doors. So it's the seed that's planted. People seeing you being baptized, and the seed over time, it's still going to have the same desired effect. So that's what came to my mind when you brought that out just now.
Let your good be not evil spoken of. So you pretended to be baptized. The young men are watching you. So Eleazar says, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I've never violated the laws of my father. Go ahead and throw me over this cliff. So this is what we're coming to, family. But the point I want y'all to bear in mind, these are the infancy stages of how we became Christians. You want to stay alive, you want to keep your land, you want to keep your wealth, get baptized into Roman Catholicism, AKA Christianity. Read on where we stopped at.
Benjamin admitted his guilt and justified his actions as grounded in Jewish hostility towards the Christians. He was saved from punishment by being baptized on the emperor's orders. Other medieval chronicles merely copied and elaborated on these accounts, such as the anonymous Syriac Chronicle, which adds a story about the scheme which the Jews, the sons of the crucifiers.
Who's the sons of the crucifiers, family? Who's the sons of the crucifiers?
Which the Jews, the sons of the Roman sons.
Who crucified Hamashiach?
The Pharisees.
They're still around in 610 AD. You see how this history's been hidden from us? The Israelites never got out of the land. So they still know who's the descendants of the ones who crucified Hamashiach. They track these people. Yeah, he's the great-grandson of, who was the high priest at the time? Caiaphas. He's the great-grandson of, these Pharisees never lost their identity. This is 610 of the Roman Empire, and they know these are the sons of the crucifiers.
I wonder where they at now. Like, I know they.
You better not show them to me.
Like, because.
Call me a lot.
Because like, even when I was listening to Nehemiah and when he was rebuilding, he found the genealogy order papers or whatever, and he was starting to, okay, of this person's house is this many, and et cetera, and then it's obviously been somebody
kept records.
Yeah, somebody.
We know who y'all. We know who your dad was.
Yeah, so like
we know who your dad was.
That stuff just interesting. Like,
this is 610, and they still can identify the sons of the crucifiers. We know who y'all are, you wicked Israelites. Because the Nazarites, we're keeping score. We don't have no power, so we ain't making no noise. But I'm watching you. Yeah, your dad died, but this is his grandson right here. Don't worry, yeah. Keep going. We got you.
But
they had to do it.
They had census back there. They kept those.
Calm.
They had to do it though, so that the Torah could be fulfilled. So.
True, but I'm watching you. I'm watching how you grow up.
You still gotta watch.
This is 610 of the Roman Empire. We still know what line you come from. Read on.
They proposed to the Persian commander, namely to dig underneath the grave of the Messiah in order to find the gold treasures lying underneath.
So this is two things, family. One is proof that our king is real, and it's proof. Now the grave of Hamashiach, we know that there is no grave. But that tomb, they're probably talking about the tomb. They want to dig under the tomb that he was in. So this is another proof. We're not believing in a fairy tale, family. Our king is real. Our Messiah is real, family. Don't let anyone make fun of you or think have you feel like we're silly for waiting on Messiah. Our Messiah is coming back to get us, family. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish that up, Bob.
From other sources, it is clear that after the Persian conquest, Jerusalem, and its inhabitants enjoyed a spell of serenity.
Y'all see this history? We wasn't always fighting. Once we helped the Persians, or once we helped that current occupier, that current colonizer get the land of Jerusalem, we can go back to keeping our feast days. We can go back to living. This is 610. But then Rome comes back, and Rome, because of the prophecies of Daniel, Rome snatches Palestine back and says, if you want to live, get baptized. If not, I'm taking your lands, I'm sending y'all back to Egypt into the salt mines, I'm sending y'all back to Rome. We've never lost who we are. These people know who we are, and you became a Christian under the Roman persecution, family.
This part is just the stuff that we don't have the written, like it ain't in a Bible. You know what I'm saying? So
the next piece of history, I have this book in-house. You guys can borrow it when you want to. You can also download it free of charge online. This is the Silk Roads by a man named Peter Frankopan. Peter Frankopan. And we're going through this history, walking you down how we became Christians. How we became Christians. We just showed you that if you committed a crime, to stay out of jail or to keep from being killed, the Roman emperors will make you get baptized. This is how you became a Christian, family, not a Nazarite. When those scriptures talk about the Nazarites, these are Hebrews, Israelites who followed the law and still had faith in Hamashiach. That's who you and I are, family. We are Nazarites. But to be a Christian, you're following Rome. So let's get into this real quick. We're about done. This is the Silk Roads, page 83. Can you start from the top?
Things only got worse. In Constantinople, the unpopular and hubristic Phocas was murdered. His naked and dismembered remains paraded through the city streets. The new emperor, Heraclius.
The new emperor who?
Heraclius.
Did we just read about him in the other resource?
Mm-hmm.
Watch how deep this goes, family.
The new emperor Heraclius, however, proved no more effective in halting the Persians, whose advances had now acquired a devastating momentum.
So this resource is saying Heraclius is now emperor, but he can't stop the Persians. He can't get the land of Jerusalem back from the Persians because the Persians are too strong now. And who's helping the Persians fight?
The Israelites.
The Israelites. Read on.
Whose advances had by now acquired a devastating momentum. After defeating a Roman counterattack in Asia Minor, the Shah's armies turned to South Jerusalem.
So the Shah is a word for the Muslim leaders. They use words like Shah or the Caliphate. Anybody heard the term Caliphate? Caliphate or Shah is the term for a Muslim leader. He's their holy man or he's their elder. So now this Muslim is gaining control of Antioch and more lands he's taking from these Romans. Now he says, I'm coming, I'm about to re-secure Jerusalem. Read on.
The aim was obvious, to capture the most holy city in Christendom, and in doing so, to assert the cultural and religious triumph of Persia.
Mm-hmm.
When the city fell after a short siege in May 614, the reaction in the Roman world bordered on hysteria.
The Romans are going hysterical because we just lost any hope of reclaiming Jerusalem, aka Palestine. Read on.
The Jews were accused not just of collaborating with the Persians, but actively supporting them.
Say that again, Al.
The Jews were not accused just of collaborating with the Persians, but actively supporting them.
Now remember, we lost track of who we are by the curses. But when the Romans and these other governments lose control of world empires, they retreat back to their home because they have a land. Isn't that funny? I'm a Roman, so I go back to Rome. I'm a Russian so I go back to Russia. But guess what I do when I go back home? I regroup. I get a new set of recruits, and I fill them in with the back history of how these wicked Persians, these wicked Israelites killed your people. So I go back to Rome, retreat, and tell them, yeah, these Israelites helped the Persians kill your daddy and take your land. Wait a minute. Take your daddy's land? This ain't your daddy's land. Sound familiar? That's what the Greeks kept telling them in the Maccabees. This is our father's land. How, sway? Y'all sailed across here. We ain't taking nothing from you. We reclaiming our land. So remember, these Roman people know who they are and they know who you are. So us helping the Persians defeat the Romans are keeping score. Y'all tracking where we're going? Read on.
According to one source, the Jews were like evil beasts, helping the invading army themselves compared to ferocious animals and hissing snakes. They were accused of playing an active role in massacring the local population who piously rejoiced as they died because they were slain for Christ's sake and shed their blood for his blood. Stories spread that churches were being pulled down, crosses trampled underfoot, and icons spat on. The true cross on which Jesus was crucified was captured and sent back to the Persian capital as a trophy of war, par excellence of Khrushchev. This was a truly disastrous turn of events for Rome, and one that the emperor's propagandists immediately turned their attention to in an attempt to limit the damage. In short term, these measures achieved little. After securing Palestine, the Persians turned to the Nile Delta, taking Alexandria in 619.
So now these Persians, they got Jerusalem secured. Now they're going and get Alexandria, Egypt. They're conquering Egypt. Read on. Oh, you have something?
I was just thinking about Babylon, Persia, then Greece, and Rome. So after Rome had a time, then the Persians came back again. That's where this is at now. And now then Rome is trying to retake again. And I'm guessing eventually, because we here now, so eventually Rome overtakes them, and then they put the Ashkenazis in that land. And then the Ashkenazis,
see how this lines up?
They sent us, the real Israelites, on slave ship Jesus into captivity, and then they just said they were the real people the whole time. Like that's kind of
just for the new people. Let's slow down because that's how everything lines up. So that's why I put on the four corners. I put on the two sides the four beasts. So when Christianity reads our scrolls, because they don't have true understanding, they say, this has already happened. But these four beasts that Daniel saw, they kept fighting against one another. Lose control, then they come back and get it back. And remember that fourth beast, it says he was more terrible than all the beasts. And he kept losing his head, regrowing his head. And now you got these fake, I'm getting ahead of myself, but you got to read it. Rome is about to make an agreement with the fake Jews, but they're not fake Jews at this time. What are they called? Khazars. This Roman Emperor Heraclius saw how these Khazars stopped the Persians, aka the Muslims, and Heraclius is like, wow, I can use y'all. Let's read on. That's why I said this history is boring if you're not used to reading, but this history is necessary to show you how we became Christians, to show you how deep you got to break this down for your family. You became Christians not by accident. It was all by design. all by design.
In less than 2 years, Egypt, the breadbasket of the Mediterranean and bedrock of the Roman agrarian economy for 6 centuries fell.
For how long did Rome control the Mediterranean?
6 centuries.
Rome controlled the Mediterranean for 6 centuries, 600 years. You think a Roman is going to let that go easily? They're prideful people. We seen a commercial today, yesterday, me and Gina. What's the actor name? Born Identity. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
He's doing a commercial and he's talking about as great as the Romans something. I'm like, what? So Rome stamped their seal and erased the history of the Greeks, and Rome is known as the mightiest warriors in the world. But you don't talk about the Israelites. But wait, we're about to show these people what mighty warriors look like. But Rome has been ruling the world for 600 years, because whoever controls the Mediterranean, that's the seat of the world empire. Those are the most important ports in the world. So Rome has just lost control of the Mediterranean after 600 years. You think they're gonna forget about that? Oh, we had a good run. Let them have it now. Read on.
All right.
Where was that? 600 years, they fell. Next came Asia.
Next came Asia Minor, which was attacked in 622. Although the advance was checked for a time, by 626, the Persian army was camped within sight of the walls of Constantinople.
The Persian army is camping outside the walls of Constantinople. Constantinople now they're not using the word Byzantine anymore in this source. Constantinople is Byzantine, New Rome. Who's leading the Persian army?
Israelites.
They're camping outside New Rome. So you got Israelites fighting for these nations, going into these nations, conquering these nations, taking these nations' lands and women, intermingling. That's why you can't look at him and says who's your dad again? Get out my face with this garbage. What line you come from? Oh. You don't know who's who. Our ancestors was fighting for these nations, and while I'm there, I'm away from home, I'm away from my wife, I'm gonna take the women here. That's why you can't look, what's your dad? Your dad came from so-and-so. That bro science don't mean nothing to me, man. Give me some sources. Read on out.
As if it were not bad enough for the Romans, the Shah made an alliance with the Avar nomads who had overrun the Balkans and had marched on the city from the north, and that now separated the remnants of imperial Rome from complete annihilation was the thickness of the walls of the city of the great Constantine.
So Rome is about to be defeated. The only thing separating them from being defeated is the thick walls that the great Constantine built, the first Constantine. So that's the only thing stopping the Muslims from coming and taking New Rome or Byzantine or Constantinople down, is the thick walls that the first Constantine built, right? But watch this, read on.
All this is where they got Game of Thrones from. This is where they got Game of Thrones from. But Constantinople knew Rome. The end was nigh, and it was utterly inevitable. Chance, though, was on Heraclius' side. Heraclius
is the Roman emperor. Now, this writer, who's a pagan, says Chance was on this Roman emperor's side. Who's on this Roman emperor's side?
Satan.
Well, who's giving them the world?
Well, the Most High already ordained that they was going to have it.
He's calling this chance. Y'all already said in our scrolls, when you read Daniel, ain't no chance. Yeah. The Most High said, this is how it's going to play out. My people, for your disobedience, I'm going to have these 4 beasts come up and beat y'all down. And this 4th beast, he's going to be so terrible, if there's no animal to describe him. And he's going to keep falling and losing power, but then he's going to gain power and stamp the residue of the holy people. So this pagan writer, this historian, this scholar is saying Chance was on Heraclius' side. What I'm here to tell you is Abba Yah calls the beginning from the end. Ain't no chance. Go ahead,
That's like in Jeremiah 27:6. And it says, and now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant.
Who's talking out?
And the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him.
This is Abba Yah's work, family. This ain't no chance. Yah said, I'm going to give the kingdom to who I want to give it to. And since my people, y'all don't want to obey me and serve me and show these nations who I really am, I'm going to take the kingdom, which is mine, and give it to these enemies of people who are no people, going to make you jealous. So this pagan is talking about chance was on his side. No, our father said it was going to happen. All because you Israelites don't want to follow the commandments. All because you Israelites, ain't nothing wrong with that tree. That tree don't mean that. I can have a little pork.
Stay over that way.
Pork is the other white meat. All you got to do is fry it real hard.
All right, stay over there.
We don't.
The initial efforts to take the city failed, and subsequent assaults were beaten away with ease. The enemy's commitment began to sag, failing first among the Avars. Having struggled to pasture their horses, the nomads withdrew when tribal differences threatened to undermine their leader's authority. The Persians pulled back soon afterwards, also in part because of the reports of the Turk attacks in the Caucasus.
Reports of the Turk attacks in the Caucasus. Reports of the Turks attacks in the Caucasus. We're showing you how you became a Christian. You have to know all this history to understand how you and I are being born with these Christian names. This is all the history we got to go through to understand why we got these Christian English names. The reports of the Turks attacks in the Caucasus Mountains that required attention. Read on.
Impressive territorial expansion had overstretched resources, leaving newly conquered lands dangerously exposed, and the Turks knew it. Constantinople had been spared by the skin of his teeth.
In an astonishing counterattack,
Heraclius, who had been leading the imperial army in Asia Minor during the siege of his capital, now tore after the...
So what's going on, the Muslims has spread themselves too thin. And that's the dangers when you conquer lands far apart. When you conquer lands far apart, you got to have soldiers to hold these lands down, because as they see the mass of your army leaving, going somewhere else, the natives now it's time to attack them. Like what happened when the U.S. pulled out of Afghanistan?
The Afghans, Taliban got wild.
That's what's happening here. They're saying you Muslims, y'all done spread yourselves too thin. Y'all can't hold down all these areas. So now Rome is like, Heraclius, the Roman emperor, this is my chance. They can't hold down these armies or these lands. This is my chance to attack. Stay with me, family. We're going somewhere. Stay with me. This is important. In an astonishing counterattack. This is Silk Road's page 84 at the top. Silk Road's page 84 at the top. Go ahead.
In an astonishing counterattack, Heraclius, who had been leading the imperial army in Asia Minor during the siege of his capital, now tore after the retreating army. The emperor first made for the Caucasus, where he met the Turk Kagan and agreed an alliance, showering him with honors and gifts, and offering him his daughter, Eudokia, as a bride to formalize the ties of friendship.
The Roman emperor has made it to the Caucasus Mountains and making an alliance with the Turk. They're calling their leader a Kagan. Right? We're about to show you how we became Christians and how our doom came. Read on.
The emperor then threw caution to the wind and moved south, crushing a large Persian army near Nineveh.
Where's Nineveh?
In what is now called northern Iraq.
And what is northern Iraq?
Babylon.
Babylon. So now the Roman emperor Heraclius is like, I'm gaining ground on these Muslims. Now I got an alliance with these Turk people. Now I'm going to take Babylon. I'm going to take Babylon from the Persians. Read on.
And there's also Assyria.
Assyria too includes that land. Calm.
In the autumn of 627, before advancing the Ctesiphon as opposition melted away, the Persian leadership creaked under pressure and Kershaw was murdered.
So the Muslim leader, the Muslim general Kershaw, he's murdered. The Romans again are getting the control back of the world empire. The Persians are losing control. The Romans are getting control back of the East again. Silk Road's page 85.
And it was Northern Kingdom Israelites over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calm.
Perhaps not surprisingly, then, Roman triumphalism produced ugly scenes after Heraclius had led a ceremonial entry into Jerusalem in March of 630 and restored the fragments of the true cross to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
So why you got a cross in your church, Pastor?
Because of King Heraclius.
Because of a Roman. Why you wearing a cross around your neck, Dr. Seminary? This has nothing to do with Israel or the real Messiah. You're following Rome, thinking you're lifting up Christ. You're lifting up their Christ. This is the history we got to go through to get back home, family. I'm sorry if it's boring, but this is the research we got to go through.
Jews were supposedly baptized by force.
By what?
Baptized by force.
By what?
Jews were supposedly baptized by force as a punishment for the role they were thought to have played in the fall of the city 16 years earlier.
How long ago?
16 years earlier.
These nations don't forget who you are. Why you think we're the greatest people over here? We got books to tell you 100 adventures of Black people, but you and I can't get loans. Or when we do things right by their way, oh, I'll give you a loan, Miss Stevens. Take this 25% interest rate on top. And we lost, thank you, good master, got me a house. You paying 10 times, think you got something. But our ancestors, you got lights in your house because of us. You got a smartphone because of us. But yet you're still under their thumb. They never forgot who you are. They know you, Jacob. They know you're mighty Israel. They know when you fight for the armies, your father is fighting with you. They know who we are. That's why they want you glazed up. That's why they want to feed your child these neutral and metrosexual cartoons. They want to get your son from the womb and make him a woman. They know who we are.
Statistics show that even like with mortgages that African Americans or whoever you want to call us, that our interest rates are higher. And
always.
For what?
Even when it comes to salaries, you could be doing the same job as your counterpartner, and it's not just a woman and a male. It's African American, Hebrew, our brothers that's not making as much. So it's shown that we are not valued at all.
They know who you are.
Because they know who we are.
They know who you are, family. They know you ain't no African. Go ahead, Chef.
When I was working in the mortgage industry, I reviewed time and time again people's applications. One, there's no reason that your rate should be listed. If they're lending to you based on your credit alone,
yeah,
you shouldn't have to know what my rate is.
That's right.
And so I've seen time and time again where they're making less money than us. Their credit score is garbage. We're talking about low 6, if not 5, and they still get market rate, if not less. And then us, they say 722. I've seen us with the 720s make more money, get denied. If they weren't denied, the score was higher than what they wanted to pay. And so the particular banks that I was working for at the time, they were like, well, credit union is offering me this. Why would I take this? But they were trying to go through some of the conventional banks because they have more programs than what the credit unions offer. And then even too, they give you more money sometimes and they put money back in your pocket. So the other people will go, or the clear skinners will go through these programs and get money back, no down payment. And I ain't talking about 5 or 6 grand. They have programs where they'll give you $35,000 down for a first-time home buyer. First-time home buying has nothing to do with you buying your first home. Every 3 years, you qualify for as a first-time home buyer.
Wow.
So just so y'all know on this call, you can buy a house as a first-time home buyer every 3 years.
Wow.
On top of that, when I worked for an investment firm for a little while, I would see you got college kids coming in. Some of them weren't even college kids. They making $80,000, $90,000 and they dumb as a box of rocks. But they have their parents on the phone saying, I need them to put their whole check in here. That's cool. But man, I can't take your word of what they want to do. You can say it verbally, but I have to have your son or daughter's permission to carry this out. The maximum this year that you can put in your 401k is $19,000. These other clear skinners are staying at home with their parents. They've got a house that they purchased. They're maxing out their 401k. They're renting out their home that they just bought. And they live in their home rent free. We're teaching our kids, hey, when you turn 18, you better have a plan. How much sense does that make? You gotta have a job to stay around here. You gotta be paying some bills. It's good to teach them responsibility, but we're hustling backwards.
Not knowing who we are. Lawless. Lawless, family. This is when these Christians tell us why we make a big deal about the law, about why y'all always talking about y'all the people, because everything depends on us being who we are. You already think you survive and you scratch and you're scrambling. Let's finish this up, family.
Jews were supposedly baptized by force as a punishment for the role they were thought to have played in the city's fall 16 years earlier. Those who fled were banned from coming within 3 miles of Jerusalem.
So here again, like 127 AD, the Roman Emperor Hadrian says, I was being nice to y'all. I'm being nice to y'all, letting y'all stay in Jerusalem. And now you got this Bar Kappa, son of the star, and y'all want to revolt against good old Rome. We've been good to y'all. So 127, Hadrian says, y'all get out your own land. Now fast forward to 627, another Roman Emperor, Heraclius, saying, be baptized or get out. All this has happened to us because we don't want to keep the Father's law. But Dr. Seminary and pastors want to have praise breaks, jumping over pews. We got grace. Your grace is going to have you dying in Babylon.
Eastern Christians whose beliefs were judged to be nonconformists were targeted too by imperial agents.
Who are these Eastern Christians who are being targeted, family, as nonconformists? Break this down. What's this going on here?
The Eastern Christians, we the people from the East, so the people, the Nazarites are the ones being, us today, same as us today.
So Rome is taking Jerusalem back, and those Israelites living in Jerusalem at this time, y'all be baptized or get out. And then they're saying the other Israelites who are back in Rome, have them be baptized. Tell them they got to leave everything Hebraic. So Heraclius is saying, not only in Jerusalem, but all you Israelites over in Rome and the other European cities, y'all got to be baptized as Christians too, or y'all going to be killed. Y'all familiar with Benai's research? The Inquisition? This is the making of the Inquisitions. Rome's like, I know y'all was helping the Persians. So now take this baptism or get these racks. Put some nails up his fingertips. He'll tell me the truth.
To me, this is the Revelation 12.
What's that? I'll bring it out.
When it's, let me just go to it.
Let's see. Revelation 12. Where you starting at?
Let's see. It's kind of a combination of 12 and 13, but so like basically 13, chapter 13, verse 7, and it says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth worship him, whose name is not written in the Lamb book of life, slain for the foundation of the world. Now, and then when you go back to Revelation 12, after the woman is fled, quote unquote, into the wilderness, you go down and it says, verse 15, it says, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood. That's nations after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. Between 12 and 13, you're seeing that Satan is basically, because of our fall, Satan is constantly trying to stop the Most High's people. He's trying to get the Most High's people. And this is just off the top of my head, nothing I got planned out, so I would have to read it.
But it's still on point, because this prophecy, when John or Yachanan is getting this is, according to them, he wrote this, Yachanan died between 95 and 100 AD. So he had to write this before 100 AD. Now we're up to 627 AD. So he was prophesying that this drought, like you're saying, these waters are going to keep coming after y'all. Y'all don't want to keep my law? I'm going to keep these waters coming after y'all. Oprah Winfrey got more bankroll than all of us over in France. What did they tell her? Nigga, you can't buy nothing here. And her not knowing who she is. You think you Oprah Winfrey, some mega million mogul, you're an Israelite lost. The flood keep coming after us.
And verse 3 is, I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. That's like Rome falling and rising. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power to the beast. So this is what I'm saying. That's what I was looking for. The dragon, Satan, is giving the kingdom the power to come after the people.
Now, see, this is why I love the Rawak. Y'all stay with me here. You're getting your education from the pagans, talking about eschatology. This is end time prophecy. But you don't know the history, so this prophecies have already been happening. But you're sitting in Dr. Seminary Church waiting for revelations to start happening. It's been happening, genius. But you're not knowing who you are. You're sucking up the Jesuits education system. Oh, yes, this is end time. This is eschatology. It's been happening.
Yeah, that's just what makes sense to me. The beast Rome given this power by Satan, and now seeing it here. Once it fell and rose to power again, you see in here, it says he came in and remembered how we helped the Persians
16 years ago.
Yes, 16 years before he came back in. And now he's making the decree, because the woman going into the wilderness, we was in Africa, basically the wilderness, and then we were in Spain, Portugal, but then, and we was cool. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
But then that's when Satan said, well, I couldn't get them because they kind of got scattered through these countries. So I'm going to give this kingdom, Rome, this power. So now through your power and your decree, I can scoop them out by saying anybody who doesn't get baptized. Now, I know that the real ones, they're not going to want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So now he can snoop us out. And that's how they got us, then sent us to the west coast of Africa, and then sent us over here. To me, it's making sense. And that's why I say that these prophecies, a lot of it's been already going on.
It's redundant.
Yeah.
Chef, you have something?
I have a picture in my mind of, this thing. We got the Groundhog Day confirmed. This thing. So these Christian pastors, bishops, apostles, they're our Pharisees. Pharisees. And these new rappers out here, even within our own communities, these are our prophets. They bring his word. If you're not hearing, judgment is quick to follow. You're in trouble, boy.
It's
in trouble.
The writing's on the wall. You're just not paying attention to it. You don't have to rewatch because you're inside the church hall walls shouting and hollering, and my pastor anniversary coming up, and this and that and third. You ain't following nothing in the book. And if you go to John 14:21, is it Hamashiach says, if you keep my law, my Father love you, I love you, and then my Father's going to reveal me to you. I'm going to talk to you when you're being lawful. So that's right now today, we're seeing once again another Saturday, we in here getting revelation from Hamashiach because we're keeping the law the best we can. You don't even got common sense not to put a tree in your house.
Shalakia. Yeah, in harmony with what everybody was saying, and to let me back with Reg referred to, I think, or am I just thinking about the text message you just sent me? I'm sorry, but yeah, basically in harmony with everybody is saying, when you think about the history, like the history is a witness in itself, and you have to line the history up with this prophecy in order to understand it, because a lot of people in these religions, when they get to these prophetical things where they can't identify with, they'll just dismiss it as, oh, that's figurative, that ain't literal, that's figurative, or that ain't, they'll just put it somewhere else because they can't figure out like what it's saying, because they don't have the history, so they can't line it up. So that's why they all over the place, and they think a lot of this stuff ain't happened yet, because they ain't digging to find the actual sources, the witnesses that show them that, yo, we are so far along. So they sitting right here waiting for a mark of the beast to come, and it'll be so obvious as a 666 or whatever the case may be. But little do they know the stages is already set. So like, we are already prepared. We ain't taking nothing from the beast, when it comes to this glaze or whatever, because we know where we at in the stream of time. And the reason why our loved ones can't see it, because again, they ain't matching the time. They not matching the history with the prophecies, and it's going over their head. They don't have the ruach, and they miss out, and this is what we're seeing. This is what's being proven. This is what I love about Revelations, because Revelations is very much lining up with history since Yakanan, wrote it all the way up to now. So even the point what y'all was saying, not to be so long-winded, but even what y'all saying about the heads, like it's 7 heads on that beast. It's 7 heads on that beast. So each one of those heads represented them, the power swinging back to their favor, and then they lose it, and then it swing back to their favor, and then they lose it. So then the 7th one, this deadly wound is healed or whatever, and then we'll see how that manifests as far as the scarlet color wild beast. But like what we're doing is just lining up the details. We going further than the average seminary doctrine, whatever the case may be. They ain't going this far because they don't want you to know this much.
All they want you to focus on paying your tithe and offering and having a good time.
SELAH.
Right, hold on to Ryan, because I don't know if Shemaiah was going here or this is what he was trying to bring out. It just hit me. When Shemaiah just brought out this Revelations 12 about the dragon sent the water after the woman, what are you baptized with?
And I was gonna say it was hitting me that it seemed like either this is a dual prophecy or it could be one long continuation or it's split into two, but it just hit me that it's possible too. Do you think those people that didn't get baptized could buy or sell?
No.
So that's like if you didn't get baptized, you a slave. You couldn't buy or sell. And that's what you was kind of saying off of what I was saying. But to me, it seemed like when he said you get baptized or not, what's that? That sound like the mark of the beast of Rome.
Marked up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nariah. Nariah has something, y'all.
Well, I was just gonna say, this is why for me recently, I've been thinking about the prophecy of Jonah when Hamashiach was talking to people in Matthew 24, a wicked and adulterous generation seek for a sign and ain't gonna get one other than the sign of Jonah. And people can't see, even though it's in the text telling you the mystery of iniquity is already at work. Like we already in this thing. So they expecting this beast to come, not realizing and understanding we are in the belly of the beast. We already in the beast. It's been here. So what this thing is, so it's like everything, it's a puzzle almost. Everything is a piece to this big wicked machine that they got against us. Like everything from what you're bringing out today to the glaze, to Planned Parenthood, to the political system, to the economic system in regards to keeping us down and pretty much forcing us, they're tricking us to sin by putting these hurdles, and it's like an uphill battle, just like you said last night in regards to what we was talking about. But the same thing can be said as far as how we are behind enemy lines. You gotta run 110 yards just to get to the starting line when it comes to a lot of these other nations. So like they have everything set up to keep us from I think I was talking to Shamar the other day about it in regards to how they'll have these laws that are supposed to be for everybody. But for the sake of the example, one of our brothers can get caught with a dime bag of weed or whatever the case may be. And somebody from another nation get caught with the same thing. Other nation get a slap on the wrist. Our people get 25 years to life. Next thing you know, they legalize it in that same state. Person gets out of jail. They have these impossible rules that you got to follow when it comes to probation, parole. And if you mess up one little time, you go right back into prison for a longer period of time. You got a harsher sentence. And it's like, okay, now if I'm out, I can't get a job. It's almost like, it's like they're forcing you, okay, your only option is to go right back and do what you went to jail for. So we can get you right back in the same cycle of sin to keep you oppressed.
That's why
I say all those. Go ahead.
Like,
well, I was just saying all those things to say they stack all the odds and chips against us, and when in reality, this is the prime and perfect opportunity for the Most High to be glorified if we knew the law, if we come back to our covenant. Because when it looks like there ain't no way, if you strive for the truth even unto death, y'all gonna fight for you and make a way out of nothing. So whatever man has against you, that's all the more opportunity for the Most High to be glorified in his children that's going to continue and obey with the works of your faith. So all of this stuff, man, that's why I ain't gonna say that part, but yeah, go ahead, Marah.
there's no way we should still be standing, people.
Thanks.
There's no other nation can endure what we endure. That's why when you judge a man, he's a criminal, she's a whore, she's a drug addict, you don't know what we've been through. You don't know the sexual abuse this sister went through. You don't know the sexual abuse this brother went through. His uncles are all pimps and dope dealers. That's all he knows, this. Not knowing who we are, got us over here still lost, and we quick to judge our brothers and sisters. And we all lost. The fact that we're in this building so long on Saturdays, we fasting, it's the power of Yah. This is Yah's plan. Chef.
Just to land back off of what Mario was saying about the mark of the beast is that baptism. So with you coming under that mindset, that submission to their system, you're not keeping Torah, which is also a sign, which is also a mark. So the duality is you can either accept Torah, start to walk and live out this life, and you have that mark on your forehead, in your mind, or you're living that life, that good Christian life, and you took on that baptism, all this stuff that we cover, letting you know, but this is tracing back to. So you're accepting the mark of the beast.
Now, Romans 12, the water coming after the woman. What's inside those vows? What's inside those vows? Liquid. You see how these parallels just keep going? You not knowing that you're a holy seed of Abraham from Jacob, you get in their line. Talking about, I don't care what's in it. I've been taking vaccines all my life, not knowing the ingredients.
You see the little.
Congratulations, fool. You ain't got a sense yet.
No, I don't know what's in it. No, I
They roughly, you know what I'm saying, being science projects.
I don't know the ingredients in my cigarette.
They're science projects. They're lab rats. You know what I'm saying?
Experimental.
It's Shalakia. It's what I said to my my grandma, like I was referring to earlier. Like I said, Grandma, so I asked you this before you get off. How many of the family took the glaze? And she was like, I said, majority, I'm pretty sure. She said, not all, but majority, you're right. And I was like, no, Grandma, asked, even from a spiritual perspective, as a student of the Bible, I said, when have we ever started like just doing what the beast tell us to do? Like, when did we become okay with that? I said, when did we become okay with believing and trusting in the beast? I'm like, in the same organization that you're a part of tells you not to take blood transfusions and all of these things, you know, but yet something that ain't even fully understood, they'll say, okay, go ahead and do it as quick as possible. You know, what is going on here? Like, why are you okay with that? She didn't say nothing. She was just quiet. She was just super quiet. And when you think about it, it don't make sense because he that is faithful to the end is the one that will be saved. In this captivity, we got to endure a whole lot of stuff like you just referred to, morale, like a lot of like whatever, if the person is raped, if a person is on drugs, whatever the case may be, we don't, on top of the curses, that could be something that put additional shackles on you that you got to break through. But we know, like, all of us got colored backgrounds, that we came from different things, that we can tell you a story because we are enduring, we're breaking shackles by the Most High. So we're trying our best to endure to the end. But then you got some people that can't come out of those shackles. Some people are going to die by those shackles, you know, because they can't come out of it. And then you got some people that's just not even trying because they just willingly giving themselves over to the beast. They just willingly doing it all because they not studying to show thyself approved, and they're staying awake and standing firm and recognizing what's really going on. But man, I tell you, man, yeah, I digress.
So sliding it back to the presentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just back to what we was.
Yeah, we got a couple more slides. We about done, y'all. Go ahead.
Sliding it back to the presentation, I still just listen to this scripture and then page 85. So Revelation 13 and 14 said, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth they added this part, by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Then it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So 16 years before Heraclius, Rome was being wounded, page 85. Rome was removed from being the authority of Jerusalem,
which is the center of the earth.
Right. So now it says, perhaps, surprisingly, the Roman triumphalism produced ugly scenes, miraculous scenes. After Heraclius had led a ceremonial entry into Jerusalem in March 630, 3 6s, and restored the fragments of the true cross. Revelation says that they should make an image to the beast.
Bring it out.
So the cross could be the image. Well, it not could be. The cross is shown to be the image of Rome, because he's saying the first thing he did when he got there is put the true cross to the church of the Holy Sepulchre. Then the Jews were baptized by force. He caused it all as a punishment for the role that they thought to have played from 16 years ago when his head was wounded. And then it says, Eastern Christians whose beliefs were judged to be nonconformists were targeted also by imperial agents. He calls it all, being obligated or obliged to abandon long-standing doctrinal positions and coerced into taking the glaze, into accepting the teachings of streamlined Orthodox Christianity. That goes to Mariah's point of what he's been trying to say the whole time. They coerced our people who didn't die. They coerced those who were left into Orthodox Christianity, and now claim to have powerful evidence that it alone truly enjoyed the Most High's blessing.
You got a Roman breaking down scripture to you. No, this Messiah wasn't just for Israel. No, that's ridiculous. No, this Messiah, this is the true Messiah for all. He wants all to live holy unto the Son. So me and you are the same. All you got to do is get baptized. Come on in and get baptized. All those sacrifices and feast days you worried about, the true Christ don't need that. You and I are the same. You just killed my whole family, and I'm the only one left, but you want to sell me, you and I are the same. All I got to do is get baptized under Orthodox Christianity, AKA RCC, Roman Catholic Church. This is the makers of how you became a Christian, family.
Let's pray about it tonight while I kill your family.
This is who we are. Just a little bit more. We got to wrap up for the day. This is Silk Road's page 121.
Over time, a finely balanced status quo developed, providing stability and considerable prosperity across the western steppe. Its linchpin was a part of the Turk tribal grouping that had come to dominate the area north of the Black and Caspian Sea. The Khazars, as they were known, ruled the steppes north of the Black Sea and became increasingly prominent because of the military resistance they put up during the period of the Great Conquest in decades following Muhammad's death.
The Khazars are the only ones who stopped the Muslims. So now the Khazars are about to be the muscle for Rome. Read on.
Their effectiveness against the Muslim armies won them the support of the constellation of the other tribes who united under their leadership. It also caught the attention of the Roman emperors in Constantinople, who understood that there were mutual benefits to be had from striking an alliance with the dominant force on the steppes.
So now this is when you got to kick it and know history. Who is really the bloodline of the Romans, the original Romans?
Esau.
Esau. Gina, what did you say Esau about Esau years ago? He's very
Cunning?
shady. Shady. Esau is very shady. So here go Esau descendants saying, hey, these Khazars are strong up here. Let's get them to be our allies. That's when they got that marriage. I'm gonna give you my daughter, give your son to one of my daughters. We're gonna form an alliance. Rome formed an alliance with the Khazars. So that's why you call these people, it's not Julius Caesar, it's Julius Khazar. To honor the Khazarian Empire, they took on their names, calling their leaders Khazars. But you and I in their schools, soaking up teachers smart, it's Julius Caesar. No, it's not. It's Julius Khazar. So you're teaching me how great these two nations are who got my nation pinned.
No, I was trying, I don't know. And that makes sense, right? Looking at it today, who are the three major world religions? Catholicism, Judaism, Islam. All three of these faiths are pushing for a one world government, one world religion. You know what I'm saying? That makes
all of them came from the same beast.
Yeah, and it's bloodline, it's covenants that they made with each other to ultimately wipe us out.
What did? Whoo. One world government, right? What did Esau tell Jacob when they met in the desert? Y'all remember back in Genesis when Jacob thought Esau was going to kill him?
I just know he ran up to him and hugged him.
He said, come. He said, come join with me, brother, and let us have one big family. Y'all don't remember that? And Jacob was like, nah, bro, if it's all right with you, my Lord, I'm going to take me and mine over this way. And Esau letting Jacob go. But Esau wanted Jacob to stay with him and be reunited, to be one world kingdom. Y'all see how deep this goes?
And it makes sense what Yashiya's trying to bring out, because this establishment happened back in the 600s, around the 630, which is wild in itself, but also for them now in the future, because this year, 2022, they're building the One World Religious Center in Abu Dhabi. So for them to bring Rome, Catholicism, Christianity, which is the same thing, Muslims and Jews together, Khazars, we know that they all in bed together, but they have, I'm looking at like, why would they want to do it? They're figuring we're gonna need to team up
to stop
Jacob's rise.
They
So
know
that's why, that's the whole purpose of the new world. To me now, it's giving it more purpose to why they want to have a new world order. Because it's like, well, if we three don't come together, we're gonna be easy pickings. So we need to come together. That's why all the nations together are all on this pandemic the same way. It's no way, you've never seen ever in history besides like Antarctica treaty, when it's stuff that's dealing with the Most High, when they're trying to cover something up of that magnitude is when they all come together.
Now, to point out two things you just said, we'll point out here, you see right here, Muhammad's death. So by 630 something, I think 632, Muhammad dies. You don't get a Quran, and Quran is an Aramaic word for Qur'an, to read, to call out. You don't get the first Quran to like 747, 749. How Muhammad wrote the Quran and he's dead? But the powers forming Rome and Khazaria, they're giving you the Quran.
And they basically didn't just replace Israelites, they replaced Ishmaelites also. So they took the place of the real Turks that was there, because Turkey is a part of what the Most High gave Abraham.
Right.
So our people I'm sorry if it's over somebody's head, but I'm just prophesying it out. I'm just speaking it out, what I'm seeing. And it's all intertwined like a big melting pot. And it's like now we're at the part where it's the culmination of it.
Now, something else y'all said, New World Order. They want a New World Order. Well, who is the beginning of the next? Esau is the end of the world.
Yeah. And Jacob is the beginning that follower.
They want a new world. They want to change the new world. You see how it's sinister? Psalms 83. They're all confederate against us. So y'all read our books. Y'all know who we are. Y'all know that the Most High is giving the new world to come to Jacob. So you want a new world order. Let's bring this home, family. We're going to finish up showing you that the Christianity that we were born into, it was shaped by the Romans and the Khazars. The Christianity you and I were born into, the Christianity you and I are trying to uproot, it was not given to us by Christ, meaning Messiah, nor was it given to us by the apostles. It was given to us by these Romans and these Khazars. Where we stop at,
it also caught the attention of the Roman emperors in Constantinople, who understood that there were mutual benefits to be had from striking an alliance with the dominant force on the steppes. So important that were the Khazars as allies that in the 8th century, 2 marriage alliances were arranged between the ruling houses of Khazaria and Rome. The name normally given to what remained of the Roman Empire in this period. From the point of view of Constantinople, Byzantine's capital, imperial marriages with foreigners were rare. Alliances with the steppe nomads were all but unprecedented.
So it's like the Romans really didn't marry these people usually. The Romans never married these foreign-looking European people, but Heraclius knew they needed the Khazars. So Heraclius, being a descendant of Esau, being very crafty, being very shady, Heraclius said, we don't usually marry these people, but we need these people. Read on.
The development is a clear indication how important the Khazars had become in Byzantine diplomatic and military thinking at the time when pressure on the empire's eastern frontier in Asia Minor and Muslims was acute. The rewards and prestige given to the Khazar leader, the Khagan, had a significant impact on Khazar society, strengthening the position of the supreme ruler and paving the way for stratification across the tribe as gifts and statuses were handed down through the tribe to chosen elites. It had the further effect of...
I'll help you out. The Khazars themselves did not adopt Islam, but they did take on new religious beliefs. In the middle of the 9th century, what's the 9th century, y'all? 1050. In the middle of the 9th century, they decided to become Jewish. Envoys from Khazaria arrived in New Rome around 860 and asked for preachers to be sent to explain the fundamentals of Christianity. From the time immemorial, they said, we have known only one God, that is, y'all see his name, who rules over everything. Now the Jews are urging us to accept their religions and customs, while on the other hand, the Arabs, the Muslims, draw us to their faith, promising us peace and many gifts. A delegation was therefore dispatched with the aim of converting the Khazars. It was led by Constantine, not the great, but one of his great-grandsons family. It was led by Constantine, best known by his Slavic name, Cyril. And for the creation of the eponymous alphabet, he devised for the Slavs, Cyrillic. A formidable scholar like his brother Methodius, Constantine stopped on his way east to spend the winter learning Hebrew and familiarizing himself with the Torah in order to debate with Israelite scholars, also heading to the Khagan's court. When they arrived in the Khazar capital, the envoys took part in a highly charged series of debates against rivals who had been invited to present Islam and Judaism. Do we follow Judaism, family? No. Constantine's erudition carried all before him, or so it seems from the account of his life, which drew heavily on his writings. In fact, despite Constantine's brilliance, he was told by the Khagan that his comments about scripture were as sweet as honey. The Infancy did not have the desired effect, for the Khazar leader decided that Judaism was the right religion for his people. This is when you start getting strange looking Jews. Not until 1000 and something, almost 1100, if you said Jew, they looked like you and I. People thought about people like you and I. The Khazar leader decided to become Jewish about 1090 something, family. I'm going to take over customs of the steeps or steppies.
The practices and beliefs.
Y'all sitting down?
The practices and beliefs of others on the steppe were no less surprising. There were tribes who worshiped snakes.
Worship who?
Snakes.
They worship who?
Snakes.
Uh-huh.
And others who worshiped fish.
Worship who?
Dagon. And others who prayed to the birds after becoming convinced that they had triumphed in battle thanks to the intervention of a flock of cranes. Then there were those who wore a wooden phallus around their neck that they would kiss for good luck before setting out on a journey.
Everyone understands what a phallus is? Everyone understands what a phallus is, right? They're wearing wooden phalluses around their necks, and they would kiss the phallus for good luck. What man in here is going to kiss a phallus?
No. None. But it's no different than that cross around their neck when they be kissing the cross and everything. It's the same thing because the cross ain't nothing but another form of the phallus.
You see how wicked these people are? And you got me doing this, not knowing I'm a royal man. We think we dressed in the nines when we got on a tie and an Italian suit. You got a phallus around your neck. Read on, we're about done.
These were the members of the Bashkir tribe, a people of legendary savagery who would carry the heads of their enemies around with them as trophies. They had appalling habits, including eating lice and fleas.
Eating what?
Lice and fleas.
Wow. This is the area where the Khazars come from, family.
Animals.
And these are the chosen people.
And you're the chosen people.
What animal eats fleas and lice?
Gorilla, apes, primates,
rats. Go ahead, you got something?
Hey, this for the ones who were on last night. Remember that bed bug talk?
Yeah.
Hey, with this country didn't have a lot of stuff that was here, but it was brought over here.
Yeah, they brought bed bugs over here. Go ahead, read on Ibn Fadlan.
He saw one man find a flea in his clothes, and having crushed it with his fingernail, he devoured it, and on noticing me said, delicious.
He saw the Muslim looking at him like, man, this is delicious.
I told you where they come from. I told you who they belong to.
So family, for those of you, this may be the first time you're hearing this research, the steeps or the step mountains, when you look at these old maps, family, remember my suggestion to you is to locate the rivers, because even today, for some reason, all praise be to the Most High Yah, they haven't changed the rivers names of the real ancient rivers, or if they have changed the names, you still can locate what river that is by its location. So you see Europe to the far left corner, Europe and Moscow, that's the Western steep. And then you see Asia. Asia is just the old word for east. And come around to the right side of the screen, you see the Eastern steep or steppe. So all this is the land of where the Khazars were ruling. They control all of this. And notate the Caspian Sea. You can see to the left corner of your screen, Constantinople, that's New Rome. That's also Turkey now. In the Bible days, that's Asia Minor. That's where Paul and them were evangelizing at for Israelites. I got the arrows pointed at the Euphrates River. And I got the arrow pointing at Judea. So this is where these Khazars or the Romans are making marriages with these Khazars. That's where the Khazarian Empire was ruling. These are the people who adopted Judaism, not the Torah, they adopted Judaism. They're not the same. They're not the same. We follow Torah, what Yah gave to Moses. We don't follow Judaism. But this is where these people are coming from. This is the steeps above the Caucasus Mountains, right? Here's another image to give you a picture of it. This is Khazaria. This is Khazaria. You see they're on top of the Caspian Sea and they're on top of the Black Sea. You see Byzantine to the bottom left corner, Byzantine or also New Rome. Again, I got an arrow pointing to the Euphrates River. You see the Mediterranean Sea. So Jerusalem is below the Mediterranean Sea. You see Mesopotamia, just another word for Babylon. Just another word for Babylon. So the Persians are losing control of this area and Rome is regaining control. And now they done made an alliance with the Khazarians, the Khazars, for the Khazars to be their muscle. For the Khazars to be their muscle. This is what's going on. And now we're up to like the 1000s, 1100s. 1000, 1100s, the Khazars adopt Judaism, and now they're calling themselves Jews. This is what's going on. Now remember, the text says that these people in this area, it's a collection of different tribes, but the Khazars are the ruling tribe. So the ruling tribe of the area, they're going to set the tone for how you live and how you worship. So remember, Shemaiah read that some people in this land of the Khazars, they worship snakes, they worship birds, and they worship, what else was it? Fish. And fish, right? They worship snakes, they worship birds, and they worship fish. And they wear wooden phalluses around their necks. Anybody know what this is?
Vatican.
Y'all seen this image before?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even try to hide who they are. What man in their right mind can't see what that is, family? Why would you design your audience hall? Would you go to a concert in this place?
Nope.
You see what this is.
You getting sacrificed.
This is the Vatican City, and you're setting your hall up looking like a serpent.
Say,
So the marriage between the Romans and the Khazars, y'all telling us who you are. You know you're a Khazar. You know who your roots are, because you're putting monuments up all over your city in Rome, in Italy. Tribes who worship snakes, and you see their this hall here, right? There was other tribes who worship fish. Their fish god is mentioned in our scriptures. His name is Dagon. When one of the pagan kings took the ark and put it in his temple, our father chopped the head off of their pagan deity. So Dagon has been around for a long time. These Romans, there's nothing original about these Romans. These Romans are what you would call ticks and leeches. Y'all remember that old movie Mimic? Old science fiction movie Mimic? Back in the 80s and 90s. They mimic the host they take possession of. So these Romans, they just mimic the host, the country they adopt, the countries they conquer, they just take on their gods. So that's why your Pope is wearing a fish hat.
And these Christians don't know. That's why they riding around with that fish on the back of their car and talking about some Christ. What are you talking about? You don't even know where that mess came from. There you go.
How many of your mothers, grandmothers had that on their car?
Marag, I read somewhere that Vatican means like divine serpent. Is that true?
I came across a couple of resources too. If you check the etymology of it, it seems to be Latin for their word for serpent. So
okay, so with that, because Lotan is another one of those idol pagan gods, and I can't remember if that was a dragon or a serpent itself. So do you know anything about that? Lotan is one of the sons.
Lotan goes later.
So yeah, I'm not familiar with that term. But all it is, family, different cities have different dialects and different slang. So they're all the same deities. It's just in this area, they're calling it by this word, and in this area, they're calling it by another word. That's all. They're just calling it another name, family.
SELAH again, all right. Vatican, the etymology of it is divining serpent.
He said that.
Oh, yeah, I was just confirmation on that.
So there was three groups. Some worship fish, some worship serpents, and some worship birds. This is Tammuz to the far left, Nimrod's son. Nimrod's in the middle. That's what the Christmas tree is for. And then their mother or his wife is Semi-Eris the dove. Y'all see how it was easy for them to insert their idolatry inside Christian dogma? Because you read our scrolls, and because our scrolls is concrete, when the Holy Spirit came down and rested on Messiah, was it a dove? Was it a dove that rested on him?
They tell us
it
it
like
was
a dove. It said like a dove. The Spirit descended down.
yeah.
It says John is saying he's using visuals so we can understand. John reclaimed his identity, and God bless John. I'm going to give you your Israelite eyes back that Adam had before Adam sinned, and Adam could see the Malachim. So as a Messiah is coming up out of the water, Yachanan got his original state back, and Yachanan or John says, I saw the Ruach descended on Messiah like a dove. So now you take the image of a dove and make it for Christianity, but your Christianity comes from Rome, aka Babylon. So in Babylon, the dove is Semi-Eris. Now you go in the Bible bookstore and they got doves and crosses on everything. The cross is for Tammuz and the dove is for his mother. You see how they got you coming and going?
Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
To the right of the screen, this is an old image from Babylon, a bronze figure. This is Semi-Eris in the shape of a dove.
And Jor-El, Kal-El, and La-Ra.
This is your Christianity, and you think you're holy, but you don't know you're following Rome via Babylon. You just had a Christmas tree all over your house and wreaths following Babylon. But you're holy. Your pastor got a PhD. Your pastor got books. Your pastor's having praise breaks and youth quakes and conferences. Your pastor is a devil.
To answer what you said, Narah, Genesis 36, verse 20, these are the sons of Seir the Horite, Satyr, devils, who inhabited the land, Lotan. So that tells you where that comes from.
This is an image right off Google. They got many different Christian images. Right in front of your face, you have the Trinity. Right in front of your face, you have idolatry, Babylonian images. But the Christians don't know this because they're under Jesuit training. Those rays that you see forming a T, those rays, you see how they're uneven? Those are images of tree stumps. Because y'all, if you go back and watch the Ho for Jesus class, we brought out in 2 Babylons that they believe the stump thrown into the fire will resurrect the next day as a full pine tree. And that's Nimrod, reincarnated as the pine tree, the everlasting tree. So those are not rays they want you to believe. Those are tree stumps of Nimrod. And then he's forming a T for his son Tammuz. And who's in the middle? The mother Semiaris. Here's your Babylonian Trinity right here, and Christianity is going to tell you this is holy. This is holy. It's holy to the devil. That's what holy means, family. New family, holy just means set apart. So when you set your mortgage money apart and you set your car note money apart, that money is holy for your car note. That's all holy means, family, to be set apart. So this is a holy image to Babylon, not to Messiah, the line of Judah. It said the people wore wooden phalluses around their necks that they would kiss. Anyone understand how they circumcise babies in Catholicism?
That picture on the right.
This is how they circumcise babies in Catholicism. What grown man is going to allow another man to put his mouth on his son? Is you crazy? Is you crazy? What are you doing?
Like you go to church.
And then it's reported that these priests been giving babies herpes. My son came and crawled and got herpes. How's that happening?
SELAH. And that's in Judaism too.
Come.
Yeah.
Come.
Like there was a whole scandal that happened in New York where a whole lot of the Khazarian babies turned out to have herpes, and the last source of it was the rabbi. And this just is wickedness, bro. And it's showing you that these faith systems, these Islam, Judaism, Catholicism, is all effeminate, you all know the word, effeminate, and
comes from the same beast.
All the same beast. It's all shaitan, bro.
You see the necktie where it's pointing to in a man. This is not our culture, family. We're from Africa. Why would I wear a collar closing up my shirt and it's 100 degrees over here? So this is what you're getting when you follow Roman Catholicism. Now they're going to tell you, they're going to rebut this like, no, we don't do that. I'm a Protestant. You're just a new Catholic. That's all. You stop praying to the saints, and you stop accepting money for prayers. But if you meet on Sunday, you're a Catholic.
Right. You're only protesting
a portion of it. You just celebrated Christmas with a tree in your house. You gave gifts out to your family. You're a Catholic. So family, we're going to stop here and continue next week, God willing. But this is uprooting Christianity. And this is the level of reading, of scholarship. I know it's boring. My eyes be bleeding at night. But this is the love mission trying to win our family and friends. Your family and friends won't have any excuses when Messiah comes. Someone I didn't know, no one told me. Because all of us are posting classes and memes trying to win the loss. So with that, family, I open up the floor for questions, comments, and concerns.
Shalakia, it ain't. I just wanted to follow you. It ain't boring. To us, we love it. You know, to students, you know, that study to show thyself approved. It's nourishment for us. We love this thing. To them, it may be boring. That's why they don't put in the work. That's why it's all surface. But I say that to say, just to kind of rewind it back to something that was brought out earlier, what we was talking about. Man, like, to see the history of it, because we know from the jump, Esau, just to get back at his pops, because how everything went down, immediately started mixing with the other nations. Immediately. And even though he seemed to squash his beef with Jacob when they came across each other, it didn't stop him from continuing to mix in the Edomites, his lineage, to continue to mix. So when you see how the Khazarians, the region they came from, and how they made that alliance, you know, with the Romans during that era and that time, and then you can see now who these Pharisees were when you pick up in the so-called New Testaments, and you like, well, how did these men get religious control? Like, how did they start controlling these Hebrew people or telling these Hebrew people what to do? You know, you can see where they came from, because when it came to decisions being made to the Hebrews, it was the apostles, and they went to the older man in Jerusalem. You know, they didn't go to these Pharisees. They weren't consulting with these Pharisees trying to figure out how to settle these congregational issues. You know, so it shows you where these Pharisees came from. And like, as Christians, they don't see it. They don't see this history connect. So it's really not alive to them, and they don't see the difference for being under laws of man versus the laws of God. The connection don't register. So thank the Most High. All praise to the Most High for bringing this information out, and I'm sure everybody second that and enjoyed it.
I wanted to bring out something about, well, it's not about what he was talking about today necessarily, but just the last comment on that, about what we was just saying with Esau and everything. Remember when Yahushua was tempted, Satan offered him all the kingdoms of the world. Mm-hmm. What was the prophecy given to Esau by his father? You will rule the world. Now, if Satan is in charge of all the kingdoms in the world, and he offered it to the Messiah, but then later on, and we see that Esau is ruling all the kingdoms of the world, it must have been given to him by the one who had the authority to give it. He's ruling for Satan. Ruling for Satan. And when you read it right in Genesis, well, I sent it to them already, but when you read it in Genesis, it tells you who Esau mixed with. Mm-hmm. And if you trace that back, you'll see that it's not so far-fetched to understand who are Satan's minions on the earth. And it has nothing to do with melanin or skin tone, because Esau first mixed with Africans. Yeah. So this bro science out here, this cockamamie doctrines out here, it's not about skin color. Esau was mating with Africans first, but him being crafty, he'll sleep with anybody to form an alliance. That's what he did with the Khazars. So don't let anyone steer you wrong with their little captain doctrine and their Rebi doctrine. Be a Berean for yourself. Then what I personally wanted to bring out is starting. The first thing is just Micah chapter 5, and then it'll be Micah, part of Micah 7. But just the beginning, it says Micah chapter 5, verse 2. And you, O Bethlehem, house of Ephrathah, mm-hmm. You are very small to be in the thousands of Judah, from me one will come out to be for a ruler of Israel, and his goings are from the beginning, from the days of eternity. Now in Hebrew, that word is Bayat Lakam, and we already went over that multiple times, the house of bread, and then Ephrathah. I was looking at that here today, and that would be aparatah mm-hmm. in Hebrew. And when I was looking at the aparatah, it's
the leader who repairs the breach or fills the gap, and the chief of the covenant. And we already said from before, the house of bread or the house of the Lakam is the shepherd who separates by the blood. So the shepherd who separates by the blood, and also the leader who repairs the breach or fills the gap, the head or the chief of the covenant that was given to us by the Most High. Most High is saying that's where the ruler is coming from. And when you look at the characteristics of those characters, that describes the role that the Messiah played.
Mm-hmm. Everything lines up in our culture, family.
Then when you go to Micah chapter 7, and then it's about the restoration of our people. So this is our time. It says, verse 15, and like the days of your exodus from Egypt, you will see wonders. Nations will see and be ashamed because of all their strength. They will lay their hands upon their mouth. They will be shocked, and their ears will become deaf. They will lick up the dust like the serpents crawling on the earth, and they will be confounded in their enclosure. They will be astonished because of your Adonai, your Elohim, and they will be frightened of you. What power is like you, removing lawless acts and overlooking the impiety of the remnant of his inheritance?
Of the whole world?
And the remnant of his inheritance.
The Baptists.
The remnant of his inheritance.
Don't forget about the Methodists.
The remnant of his inheritance.
Been in the book the whole time.
And he did not hold on to his anger as a testimony, because he is one who wishes compassion. He will turn and have pity upon us. He will dismiss our injustices. He will cast all our sins into the depths of the sea.
Hallelujah.
He will give truth to Jacob and mercy to Abraham, as you swore to our fathers during the former days.
Hallelujah.
What is that? Where you just read from again, Shamaria?
Micah chapter 7.
This is why the church don't want to read these prophecies, because you can't keep standing on this as a spiritual seed. He keeps talking about our fathers. Fathers starting with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is why the church don't want to read these Old Testament writings, family.
And you read this in the KJV, like I was just listening to it, but it basically, that part is saying, like, even though it may be like, it may be tough, it may be rough, it's saying he will do these things. He will remember. He will restore you. Like, it's saying, like, the Most High is 100% gonna do this. That's what that verse is saying. That's what that verse is saying.
Without a doubt, family. Hallelujah. Anybody else have anything else before we pray, break bread?
Khan, I just wanted to mention two things that I was thinking about. I was trying to find it. Going back to how Father Jacob was going to Esau to pretty much make a peace offering with him almost. Because and isn't it in Jasher or Yashar where Esau was like, yeah, bro, come back with me. And then Father Jacob at first he was like, oh man, I want to go see mom and dad. And Esau was still trying to press him. And Jacob was like, okay, well, cool, you go ahead, and then I'll just meet you there. And when Esau left, Jacob was like, nah, man, we going this way. I can't remember. I'm trying to find it.
That sounds like Genesis too. That sounds like Genesis too. I can't remember the chapter.
Yeah, I'm in Jasher 31, and it's talking about them meeting back up, but I just haven't read enough to bring that out particularly. But even at that part right there, when Shamar was talking about it, that in a sense, because right after Shamar got finished talking, you said Hasatan use anybody. You just said that Hasatan gave Esau the word. So, and he started to mingle his seed, of course. So what do we see, or at least this is what I saw when he met back up with Father Jacob after those years of being with Leah, Rachel, having, 11 of the 12 patriarchs, because I don't think Benjamin was here yet. And Esau like, come back and dwell with me. That was the waters being cast out to try to devour the woman. So the nations coming and trying to stamp out and overflood the children of Israel, even with that one chapter. That's what I started seeing when Shamar was talking and what you said following that. So am I off for putting that together like that?
No, I think you own it something. That's how when you start to see these Hebrewisms, man, it don't stop. Now we could be sometimes stretching it, but we don't know because a lot of our records have been destroyed. So sometimes I do feel like, man, am I stretching these Hebrewisms? But so much of our information has been destroyed, confiscated in the Vatican. Some of it is in the British Museum. Russia even has museums with some of our artifacts that hasn't been translated. So no, I mean, I don't think you're too far-fetched. I don't think it's too far-fetched.
Shalaki, I don't think so either, because if you think about it from the jump, even though the Septuagint kind of worded differently, when you look to the Genesis 3 whole play out, what the seed was going to do to the serpent and with the serpent, how the serpent was going to fare with the whole thing, because the Septuagint do word it kind of differently. But the point is, the serpent been trying to mess this thing up since the jump. So every way he felt at that moment that could have been the outworking of it, he was trying to mess it up. So even like I said, like I referred to, I don't know if because you can take that Esau and Jacob thing and say, well, shoot, Esau ended up being a good dude before he died. He won't mad no more. He wasn't holding it towards his brother. Look, they squashed it. You can take that perspective and try to use that, or you can see it as, or you can see it as Satan trying to deceive and cun, and be slick, because if Jacob wasn't on his game, Jacob could have been like, you know what, man, this family, he right. We need to come together. We need to stay together and mess the whole thing up, So it goes to show it's frontal and it's subtle attacks. Some of them may be frontal and we identify it out the gate. That was subtle because his feelings could have got the best of him. His emotions could have got the best of him, and that whole thing could have messed up. And we see Hasatan trying to do that in multiple different ways throughout the scripture. Subtle, frontal. So I think you're right on the money with that.
Okay, yeah, because it's in Joshua chapter 31, and what I'm reading right here, apparently Mother Rebecca had heard that Uncle Esau was coming to meet up with Jacob, and she got to Father Jacob first, and she pretty much gave him a plan, like, look, go and make these people offerings to him and supplicate to him that his anger might be abased and it might be pacified. And I just, like I said, I just haven't read too much other than that, but just thinking about how the dragon couldn't get to the woman, and then it made war with the remnant of her seed. Well, what did Esau's son do shortly after his death? He came against us. So, just I was just seeing similitudes with Revelation, everything that y'all have been talking about. So that's just why I was just curious to ask.
Oh, praises, hallelujah, hallelujah. If nothing else, we're gonna stand and face the east. Those on